Right, so if you're really excited about a ginormous iPad Air, the leaks keep on coming regarding it releasing next year, so let's delve into it. So for those not aware, Digitimes and 9to5Mac previously told us we could see a new larger iPad Air launch early next year, and now Quo corroborates on this, and apparently this will be Apple's main priority next year, I'm guessing because they think it's going to be a massive success. And so mass production's going to begin in Q1 of next year, so that points towards a March or April release. Now thankfully Quo tells us something new about this iPad because we've been wondering for a while what kind of upgrades can we actually expect. Obviously a new chipset is a given, but is that it? It can't just be a new chip and a fancy new color, right? Well, Quo says we could see a new display. Sorta. So for those hoping we could see mini LED or OLEDs, we're not getting that with this new iPad Air, however there will be a slightly better LCD instead. Currently the Air 5 has an Si backplane, but the Air 6 could switch to an Oxide backplane, which the iPad Pro currently has, so that's great news, but I'm not going to pretend like I know what that means, I have no bloody clue, so of course, after searching on the interwebs, it seems like this will help reduce power consumption, so I'll take that. But if you do compare the specs of the 11-inch iPad Pro and the iPad Air right now, there is one big difference apart from 120Hz, and that's 600 nits of brightness on the Pro, so I'm gonna bet the Air 6 gets that as well, and maybe Apple Pencil Hover. And by the way, would like to remind you guys, like this video and subscribe for more content like this, it would be appreciated. And I know there's gonna be people shouting in the comments saying, hey, Apple, give us 120Hz on the Air 6, I beg you. But I'm sorry, I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't see non-Pro iPads getting ProMotion just yet. The day the regular iPhones gain 120Hz, that's when we're gonna see the Air and the Mini gain this as well. By the way, it's not clear if only the larger model is getting this upgrade, or if the better LCD is coming to the regular size as well. Of course, right now with the iPad Pro range, you only have Mini LED on the bigger size to upsell consumers, and so Tim might do the same thing with the Air range, but considering its minor upgrades to the LCD panel, I think it's better they maintain feature parity, and of course, both models get this upgrade. And well, that's it guys, this really won't be that big of a refresh to be honest, and I'm still mixed on the idea of a larger iPad. Now I am warming up to this, and maybe the pricing could sway me, but I do have my reasons as to why I'm a little cautious. My first reasoning is the fact the iPad range is an absolute mess right now. There are frankly too many options that offer similar features, and introducing yet another iPad is not going to fix things. If anything, I would rather Apple simplify the range and get rid of some models. You see, I was fine with a 15-inch MacBook Air and the iPhone 15 Plus because there are clear differences between the regular and Pro models, and the lineups are very easy to understand. With the iPad though, considering the software so limited on the Pros anyways, I always found the Air and the Pro to be way too similar and there just wasn't enough differences, and so adding a new size option that's going to be even closer in price to the 11-inch iPad Pro is not the right move. Don't get me wrong, I understand the appeal for a non-Pro large-sized iPad, but it should be based on the regular iPads and not the iPad Air in my opinion, because if it was based on the Air, this could be somewhere between $699 to $750, and that's not really affordable if you think about it, because you could likely find a refurbished M1 iPad Pro for that kind of price, and so if this was a larger base iPad, it would be significantly cheaper. But at the same time, part of the reason Apple gave us a 15-inch MacBook Air and the 15 Plus is to upsell you to the Pros because they are closer in price, and so maybe that's Timothy's big brain strat for the larger iPad Air as well, especially when there aren't many reasons to buy the Pro in the first place. Also, you could argue that because the iPad Pros are getting more expensive, and could be something ridiculous like $1,500 apparently, that of course could make space for a larger iPad Air, but I'll be honest guys, I never bought into these rumors. We all know iPads are limited by their software, so why would someone spend $1,500 on an iPad just because it has a fancy OLED display? Yes, I'm sure the display is gonna be amazing, but I don't think that alone is gonna help people justify such a massive price increase when you can get a much better experience with a MacBook for that kind of price. So I'm leaning towards not wanting this larger iPad Air to materialize. though I guess without it, Apple has a very stale refresh to market. As I said earlier, we're only getting M2 and some minor display upgrades, and so this in a way feels similar to the iPhone XS and 14 in that the main thing they'll have to market is the new size option, because there's not much else they can talk about considering M2 is not going to be that game changing. And actually, I do wonder if this iPad could skip M2 and go straight to M3. Now yes, I know even M1 right now is overpowered for most, and so the differences between M2 and M3 is pretty irrelevant, but considering the M3 just released and the M2 is going to be nearly 2 years old, it would be nice to see a brand new chipset inside, especially since M3 should get longer support. But if this does get M2 and you're not interested in this larger size, I would not wait for this refresh. We are still potentially months away from the M2 iPad Air if it does launch in March, and there's really nothing with iPadOS right now, in my opinion, that's going to utilize the additional performance M2 offers. I mean, it's not even fully utilizing M1 right now, and yes, I know someone's gonna mention in the comments, what about support, bro? And yeah, that's fair, but M1 is not losing support anytime soon. Apple's still supporting A10 iPads, so I would 100% advise literally everyone to buy the iPad Air M1 instead. Also remember, with M3 we could see ray tracing on the iPads, and that can make a big difference to how games run on these iPads. Also, the M1 iPad Air is already old enough where I'm seeing significant discounts here in the UK. I'm sure this also applies to other countries, and so for bargain hunters like myself, the current Air is the better deal for sure. Also, of course, if you really want that bigger size, do remember that for one, rumors can be false, but also, as I said earlier, the M1 iPad Pro right now is around the same price as a hypothetical 12.9-inch iPad Air 6. Yes, you don't get the newest chipset, but as we already know with the M2 Max, those were only slightly better performance-wise, and M1, as I said, is plenty fine for iPadOS, plus you're getting quad speakers, Face ID, mini LED, and also 120Hz. And if I'm being honest guys, the upgrades we would ideally want with the Air anyways already exist with the iPad Pro, which brings me back to my earlier point that there's too much overlap with iPads, and so there really needs to be more differentiation in the range. It's time Apple justifies the Pro branding and gives the more expensive iPads more features from macOS for Pro workflows, and that alone could get consumers to buy those. You don't need to upsell them by introducing new models. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments, make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and thank you for watching. So I was very glad about that, but let's take this out of the actual box. Let's put on this